Alright, hello people, we are back. I'm sorry if this video is a bit late. I didn't make an instant reaction. Usually I'm one of the quickest people to post a reaction to a fight. I've waited a day in between. Just wasn't really feeling in the mood for it yesterday, but we're here now, and Brandon Figueroa defeats Nick Ball by 12th round KO for the WBA featherweight world title. And yeah man, this was an incredibly interesting fight. I thought going in it was incredibly interesting. I thought going in it was a 50-50. Brandon Figueroa, of course, being Nick Ball's mandatory. Now, I feel like most people were definitely favouring Nick Ball to win, due to the last kind of major time we saw Brandon Figueroa in the ring was against Stephen Fulton, who he's lost to twice, the only person he's lost to in his career, and he looked underwhelming, but he got a decent victory in between, which was still controversial, so you kind of had to favour Nick Ball going into this, but yeah, he beats Nick Ball by 12th round KO, breaks the hearts of people in Liverpool, really. The fight itself was incredibly interesting, and it was a fight where if Figueroa didn't manage to pull it off, you'd have to be disappointed, because he fought this fight on his terms, which is why I didn't think it was a great performance from either man. It was a good fight, but I didn't think it was a particularly good performance from either man, if you think about it, because that fight was very close, and it was fought a way in which Nick Ball wouldn't like. Nick Ball was backed up, he was put on the back foot, and it was fought in a way that Figueroa does like, and it was still so close. So if Figueroa didn't manage to pull it off, it would have been highly questionable, because this was his fight on his terms. As far as I'm concerned, Nick Ball wasn't allowed to fight his typical fight. He was pushed back by Figueroa. Lots of volume from Figueroa, not many clean head shots landed, a lot of body shots landed, which definitely sapped the energy of Nick Ball. And from Nick Ball, he was put on the back foot. He actually did box decently from range, which is incredibly funny. We all know Figueroa isn't particularly good at range himself. He doesn't use his height. Nick Ball, being 5'2", I thought did the better work at range in this fight. I thought Figueroa did very good up close with the body shots, but I thought Nick Ball range was getting the better of Figueroa, catching Figueroa with some lead uppercuts, which was interesting. You know, to get hit by those shots from Nick Ball, being so small, you wouldn't think that's a punch that's particularly effective, but it was. Yeah, Nick Ball was doing some decent work with the counters on the outside. Some criticism you can give to Nick Ball in this fight, and some criticism you can give to Nick Ball throughout his career, as he doesn't have the most particularly sophisticated ability to close a distance. Of course, him being a smaller man, he's going to want to close the distance. He obviously can't box from long range. Yeah, he's only kind of got one way to close distance, and that's to explode into a shot and lunge in. It's worked for him in the past, him being so small and him being so explosive, but when you come against these kind of world-class operators, you know, T.J. O'Dehaney, his fought at world level, has, I believe, won a world title, but is probably at this stage in his career is not of that level. You can get away with that. You can kind of get away with those gifts. Let's call them athletic gifts. Just like Teofimo Lopez, for example. Teofimo Lopez doesn't close distance particularly effectively. He kind of lunges in and uses his athleticism, and that works in most cases. But when you come against the Shakur Stevensons of the world, and even lower level fighters like Sandor Martin, who are still at that world level, it starts to become troublesome. Yeah, so if I was Nick Ball, I'd work on my ability to close the distance. Some head movement. He's got quick feet, so it really shouldn't be a problem. Some head movement, some feints. Just add layers onto your defense. But yeah, it was a really interesting fight, and a very close fight. I thought going into the 12th round, someone's going to have to win it. Like, someone's going to have to win this 12th round definitively, because this might be what the fight hinges on. And Brandon Figueroa goes out there and stops Nick Ball in about 20 seconds into that round, which came really out of nowhere. But like I said, this fight was really fought on Figueroa's terms, and it was won in Figueroa's terms. They kind of got into an exchange, and Figueroa punched in between Nick Ball's punches and took him out, landed face first, which is exactly what Brandon Figueroa is known for, was punching in between people's shots. He's constant volume. And of course, you when you're so focused on throwing yourself, you don't see those shots coming. That's exactly what happened to Nick Ball. He went down face first. Steve Gray allowed him to continue, allowed him to get up. And then he was pushed back by Figueroa. Volume landed. Wasn't even particularly clean work. It was just Nick Ball was probably so out of it and so off balance. He kind of went over from just the shots kind of hitting his gloves or hitting around. Or not even hitting particularly clean, but hitting his head. He went down in between the ropes and was out. I've got to say the team was absolutely classless. Nick Ball's team. You had Andrew Kane, who had a very good victory earlier on in the night and a really exciting performance. Try and kick a member of Figueroa's team, which was stupid. You had a lot of the Liverpool fans, or just the fans in the arena in general, throwing beer at Figueroa's team and Figueroa, which is, like I said, classless, especially when Figueroa even still had the dignity to show class to Nick Ball and respect to Nick Ball after the fight. It was, considering Liverpool is... Scousers and Northerners in general are genuinely some of the friendliest people you can meet, and this is coming from a Southerner. Like, they are fucking, they're good. No, the majority of them I've met, I've had pleasant experiences with. I know they like to get behind their own, but I thought it was a bit over the top, a bit dramatic. Getting annoyed with Figueroa for celebrating. It wasn't like Nick Ball was out or anything. He was celebrating winning the world title. So Brandon Figueroa, 2-division world champion. There's been a lot of shit about him apparently being a 3-division champion. DAZN have posted that. Fucking PBC have posted that. I'm pretty sure he's a 2-division champion and just a 3-time world champion in general. So speaks to how good the boxing industry is at just counting. What else can I mention about this fight? Yeah, Nick Ball just needs to learn on being... He's got a very tricky game, being... his physical attributes being what they are, and his style being what it is. Just work on closing distance more effectively, because once some guy figures out how to mitigate that, he's in severe trouble. I do wonder if we've seen some slippage in Nick Ball. To me, he hasn't looked as good as he hasn't looked too great since the fight he had against Ray Ford. The Ronnie Rios fight, the TJ Doheny fight, he got done in good fashion, exciting fashion, but and the Sam Goodman fight, he got these fights won clear, and it's a good run, but I don't know, he's lacking a bit of like I mentioned his explosiveness earlier. I feel like the explosiveness is slipping a little bit, and I don't know, there's not as much snap in the work. I don't know, I'd have to watch the fights back, but yeah, man, it was a good fight. It was an exciting fight, and a really, really good finish. I mentioned this on Twitter. Really good finish on Figueroa, and he really needed that to happen, because this is going to be one of them fights that went to the scorecards and was going to be up in the air. That's a perfect way to, you know what I mean, 12th round, close fight, stops him, stops a good champion and gets it done. Can't complain. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.